In ELA today, we're going to continue learning about the government and our community. We're going to begin by reviewing goods and services, which are things that the government provides to the people.
Isn't this exciting, Moby? Everyone's selling stuff to raise money for new computers. What are you selling? You're selling signed photos of yourself? What are goods? People buy and sell different kinds of goods. Goods are things that are made or grown. Clothes, computers, and cars are examples of goods that are manufactured or built or made. Fruits and vegetables are goods that are grown. Many goods come from natural resources. Wood is a natural resource that we use to make goods, like paper and pencils, furniture, and homes. But some people and businesses don't sell goods. What are services? A service is work that someone does for someone else. A dentist, babysitter, and a bus driver are people who offer services. A teacher provides the service of teaching. A firefighter provides the service of keeping people safe. I'm offering a dog walking service to people in our community. Some goods and services are made or offered locally. But goods and services can come from other parts of the country or from other countries. A producer is someone who makes or grows goods or offers services. You're selling photos, so you're a producer. I'm offering a dog walking service, so I'm a producer too. Cool, my first customer. A consumer is someone who buys goods or services. How do producers and consumers affect each other? A producer's supply is the amount of something available to consumers. This toy store has a big supply of super robots. The demand is how much consumers want something. These super robots are in high demand, and the store ran out of its supply. The demand is so high that other toy stores ran out of their supply too. When the demand for something is high and there isn't enough supply, the price may go up. Well, some people are willing to pay more if they really want something that's hard to get. But the price might go down if the demand goes down. Now there are new super duper robots, which are a lot cooler than the older ones. The demand for these toys is really high. Fewer people want the older toys, so the price has gone down. This way the store can sell them more easily. It might be hard to sell these photos, Moby. You can't beat that price.
All right, so we are learning a little bit about goods and services. We know that the government sometimes offers goods and services to the people. Let's take a look at our success criteria for today.
Today's learning target is to ask and answer questions to demonstrate that you understand a text that you've read. You're going to refer explicitly to the text to find your answers.
Yesterday, we talked a little bit about what are the goods and services that the government provides to the people. In our breakout rooms, we were able to have a little bit of a conversation about things or services that the government provides to the people. Yesterday, we talked about how the government provides services like public school. The government helps pay for school so that all kids can go to school. Another thing might be something like police and firemen, which offer protection. These are examples of services the government can provide for the community. When I think about school as an example, I'm also wondering what types of goods, what types of things does the government provide? Well, if we think about our school building, we know the government pays for things like desks. Students do not have to buy their desk at school. It's provided to them. It's given to them. Public school also provides books. A different example of a type of good the government might provide is something like a park. When you go to the park to play, that is something that the government has built and paid for. So the government has to offer goods and services to the people. Today we're going to think more about this, and we're going to focus on a question. Our big question today that we're going to focus on is, how does the government pay for the goods and services it provides? I'm going to read it again, and I want you listening and thinking about today's question. How does the government pay for the goods and services it provides? I'm going to send you into your breakout room, and I want you to be brainstorming. I want you to think about how you think the government pays for this stuff. How do they build and pay for schools? How does the government pay for desks and books that we use at school? We're going to make a list of ideas of how the government can pay for this stuff. Together, as we think about how the government can pay for goods and services, we're going to work on Seesaw together. You may click Activities, Assign to Class folder, Red, ELA. Our task today is called Taxes and the Government. Please open your task so we can work together. Go ahead and click on slide number 3. This is where we are focusing on our big question for today. Our question is, how does the government pay for the goods and services? We have already talked about examples, so how do they pay for it? Where do they get the money to build libraries, to pay the police officers, to build schools and give us books and computers? Where does that money come from? I'm looking for a third grader who has an idea. We talked about brainstorming ideas. Who has an idea? Where does that money come from? I see Gloria has her hand raised. Go ahead, Gloria.
The They sell stuff.
Okay, so maybe the government, maybe they sell stuff. That's a good idea. I love that Gloria is thinking about how the government has money to pay for things. Kaylee Cole, what's your idea?
The government, no, somebody else make money, and then the people who make money, they give it to the government.
Kaylee, we're having a little bit trouble hearing you. Could you try again, please?
Some people make money and then they give it to the government.
Okay, so maybe people give money to the government. Okay. People give money. Boys and girls, I'm making a list on slide 3. This is optional. If you would like to write what I am writing, you may. You do not have to. So maybe the government sells stuff to have money. Maybe people give money to the government. I'm going to put gov for short. I saw some other hands raised. Serenity, what's your idea? How does the government have money?
From taxes.
Okay, Serenity is talking about this word taxes. That might be a new word for some of us. And today, boys and girls, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what are taxes. We're going to talk about that together. A few more hands were raised. Thank you for being patient. Haley, how does the government pay for goods and services? Haley, you are cutting in and out. We will try again in just a minute with you, Haley. Thank you for being patient. Day, how does the government pay for goods and services? What are you thinking? All right, boys and girls, we're having a lot of trouble hearing students. Thank you so much for being willing to out. I know it's frustrating when our Wi-Fi or Zoom isn't working very well. If I wasn't able to hear you, you can always send me an idea in the chat and then I can share it out. Thank you, thank you. Awesome. Nick suggests that maybe they are paying bills. Okay, so maybe when we pay our bills, does that money go to the government? That's a good question, Nick. When your parent pays a bill, does that go to the government? That's a good thought. I like how we are brainstorming how the government has money, money, money. How do they pay for this stuff? Today, boys and girls, we get to learn about that. And Serenity brought up a really important word. That word is taxes. Today, we're going to introduce taxes. I wanted to follow up. Haley said the government can build stuff. I agree, Haley. That's part of the goods that the government provides. Yes, they do build things. Our question today is, how do they have the money for that? How do they pay for the things they build? I'm so glad that you guys are focused and interested in our topic today. Please join me on slide number 4. Slide number 4 is where we're going to begin. Okay, today we're going to read a text called Tara Pays Up. And we're going to use the text to answer questions and or fill in the blanks. So remember, our learning target today is answering questions using text evidence, just like yesterday. So today we're going to learn about taxes. As we read this story, we're going to think about, how does the government pay for goods and services? We're going to begin by listening to this video.
Tara Pays Up by Kirsten Larson. Illustrated by Paige Billion Fry. Oh no! I just spilled grape juice all over my absolute favorite t-shirt, the one I made myself. I flop down on the grass. That's when I feel something small and cold against my arm. A quarter! Yes! This day just got a lot better.
Go to slide 5, please, and we're going to continue listening to the text.
My sister Jo sticks her head out the door. What are you hollering about? I found a quarter, I tell her. Jo raises an eyebrow. So? So, I say, I've been saving for the super deluxe make your own t-shirt kit for weeks. Now I have exactly enough money to buy it. I put on a clean shirt and get my money jar. Walk me to Cool Crafts, I ask Jo. Sure, she says. Jo likes the store as much as I do, maybe even more. She glances at the clock. It closes in 1 hour. We'd better take the bus. Cool Crafts is awesome. It's full of ribbons and yarn, pipe cleaners, clay, colored glass, feathers, and wiggly eyes. There are kits for making candles and puppets. You can even build a bird bath. But I want only one thing, the Super Deluxe Make Your Own T-shirt kit. That will be $16.80, the cashier tells me. I point to the price tag, but it says $16. The extra 80 cents is for tax, she replies. Sales tax is a fee that is added on when you buy things like clothes and toys. The tax you pay is based on the price of what you are buying. That means the more something costs, the more sales tax you pay.
Go to slide 6. We will continue with our story. Everyone's on slide 6, listening to our text.
I only have $16, I say. Why do I have to pay tax? Well, everybody pays tax, Jo tells me. What for? Jo loves to explain stuff, especially to me. For things people use, like public places and services. Well, I don't use those things, I complain. I'm just a kid. Jo gets a funny look on her face. Tell you what, she says, I'll give you the 80 cents, but starting now, whenever you use something taxes pays for, you'll owe me 10 cents. I really want that kit. Deal, I say. Tax money goes to the government to use for things people need. Some goes to the national government, some to the state government, and some to the local government. Sales tax isn't the only kind of tax. People pay property tax if they own a house or land, and they pay income tax on the money they can earn at their jobs.
All right, we have now begun our story learning about Jo and our main character. According to Jo, who has to pay taxes? I saw in the text that Jo says everybody pays tax. So I'm going to highlight my evidence because it answers my question. According to Jo, who has to pay taxes? Everybody pays tax. I have now highlighted my evidence in the text, and now I'm going to answer my question. Everybody pays tax. Everybody pays tax. Notice that I looked in the text for my answer. Then I highlighted it with evidence. And now, boys and girls, I am writing in a complete sentence. I have a subject, a verb, I have words that make sense, I have a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence, and I have correct punctuation. When you answer questions about a text, you should be writing in a complete sentence every single time. After you record your answer, we can make it smaller and put it into the correct section. Who pays taxes? Everybody pays tax. Our next question says, what do taxes pay for? What do taxes pay for? Let's go back into our text and look. I want everybody looking for what do taxes pay for? Awesome. I see lots of friends who are looking for the evidence. I'm going to take my highlight tool. I'm going to look in the text for the answer, what do taxes pay for? In our text, after Joe tells her sister that everybody pays tax, she asks, what for? Joe loves to explain stuff, especially to me. She says, for things people use, like public places and services. According to Joe, taxes pay for things like public places and services. We've been learning about that word service. We know it can be things like policemen, firemen. It could be things like riding the bus. Those are things that we pay for with our tax money. After I looked in the text for my answer, I highlighted it with evidence. Now I need to type my answer in a complete sentence. What do taxes pay for? I need to start by using words from the question. Taxes pay for. Remember, we can take our question and turn it around in our sentence. Taxes pay for. I'm going to go back to the text and look at the evidence I highlighted. It says, for things people use, like public places and services. Okay, I'm going to use those words from the text and put it in my answer. Taxes pay for public places and services. Those are two examples that Joe says in the text. After you highlight your evidence, you need to write a complete sentence. Notice that I have words that make sense, a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence, and correct punctuation. This is a third grade sentence. Make sure when you answer a question about a text that you are writing in a complete sentence. Our third question on page 6 asks you to think about your opinion. It says, what do you think? Tara doesn't feel that she should have to pay taxes since she's a kid. Tara doesn't feel that she should have to pay taxes since she is a kid. Do you agree? You are going to circle, yes, I agree, or no, I disagree with Tara. Then I want you to explain. Tell me your opinion. Should Tara pay taxes even though she's a little kid? What's your opinion? Choose yes or no, and then I want you to explain your thinking. You have 1 minute to explain your opinion. At the store, Joe said, I'll pay you the extra money. I'll pay for the taxes, but now you owe me 10 cents every time you use something that the government has provided. So let's listen to our story and let's think about what people are taxed for.
We step outside to cool crafts. You owe me 10 cents, Joe says. Already? I ask. What for? For using the sidewalk. I'm not giving you money every time I walk on a sidewalk, I tell her. Okay, says Joe. I'll only charge you the first time you use something that taxes pay for. We get to the corner just as the bus pulls up. Joe has a gleam in her eye. That's another 10 cents, she says. The city wouldn't have buses if people didn't pay taxes. Joe's going to be a real pain, but I don't care. I can't wait to get home and design my t-shirt. I don't get the chance. As soon as we walk in, Mom says, dinner time, everyone wash up. I beat Joe to the sink. Pass the soap, she says. And by the way, you owe me another 10 cents. I can't believe it. For soap? For the water. Joe gets that I'm so smart look on her face. Taxes help pay for us to have clean water whenever we need it. Know-it-all, I mutter.
We have just seen that Joe is asking Tara to pay her 10 cents as soon as they get out of the store. So let's go back to our text and think about, why is Joe asking her for 10 cents? What is she asking for 10 cents for? Let's get our highlight tool ready. The text says we step outside cool crafts. You owe me 10 cents, Joe says. Already? I ask. For what? For using the sidewalk. I'm not giving you money every time I walk on a sidewalk, I tell her. Okay, says Joe. I'll only charge you the first time you use something taxes pay for. So in our text, we see that the sidewalk that we walk on is something taxes pay for. So I'm going to write in my box, taxed for sidewalks. When we pay taxes, the government can build sidewalks for people to use. When Tara steps on the sidewalk, Joe tells her, you owe me 10 cents. Go ahead and write in sidewalks in our first box. After they walk on the sidewalk, they get to the bus. It says we get to the corner just as the bus pulls up. Joe has a gleam in her eye. That's another 10 cents, she says. The city wouldn't have buses if people didn't pay taxes. So now we have found a second thing that our taxes pay for. In my second box, I'm going to write the bus. When we pay taxes, we pay for transportation like the bus. Go ahead and write in bus as our second thing that we are taxed for. Our money pays for sidewalks and buses. Those are two examples. We are still looking for evidence. I've got my highlight tool. When they get home, she says, pass the soap. And by the way, you owe me 10 cents. I can't believe it. For soap? Nope, for water, Joe says. Taxes help pay for us to have clean water whenever we need it. I have now looked for evidence and I have highlighted that taxes help pay for clean water. I'm now going to record that people are taxed for clean water. We have now found some examples of goods and services that the government provide. How does the government pay for it? Our taxes. When we pay taxes, the government collects our money and now they can build things like sidewalks. Now the government can pay for a bus and they can provide clean water. Okay, we need to quickly talk about what your work is today. Starting on slide 8, you have more story to listen to. Don't forget that Mrs. Thaxton is reading it to you, and you're going to look for ways that we are taxed. What does our tax money go to? You're going to complete slides 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Don't forget to reflect on your learning today. The main goal today, boys and girls, is to listen to the story, look for things in the text that our taxes pay for, and try to write down as many of them as you can. When you are done, you will turn in your work with a green check.